Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new Let's Play series in Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich. Today we are going to be playing as the Qing, doing a Manchu restoration. So I do have a little guide pulled up so I can see the steps that I need to take, assuming that the guide's not outdated. I don't think it is, but we'll hopefully it works out for us. I haven't done the Manchu restoration path. We did play the Qing like 2 years ago. Honestly, if you go back, watch the original Qing series, it's probably actually one of the best series that we've had on the channel. But do that after you watch this video. Don't do it right now. So right now we're starting with 24 factories, 9, 4, and 11. Of course, we have more manpower than we'll probably ever need in our entire lives. Give me all of our basic techs to start off with. And to note, this series is recorded in a new Kaiserreich patch that is updated for By Blood alone. So we are now playing with the By Blood alone mechanics. There's just something to point out while we're here. The military factories, what do we want to get? Probably just more rifles would make sense. We're not taking our Army Navy experience this time, primarily due to the fact that it kind of destroys our army reform system. It kind of breaks if we just gave ourselves free military power, so we're not going to be doing that this time around. Right now, German influence at 15%. I don't think they'll have any influence once we actually... How many units do we have? 33? I don't think they'll have any influence once we have the coup, because I'm pretty sure the coup is anti-German. Again, based on what I'm remembering. So put you here, 17 divisions. We're going to assign you up to the Fantine government. Red Army will assign you down to the League of however many provinces you were. We'll make you the Blue Army, that seems fine. Yeah, bring you guys down south. We'll assign this general there. What do we want to build? I mean, probably some military factories. We don't have that many. 20%, 40%. I guess let's build them in Beijing, because that's where we have our best modifier for. We got Year of the Rat. Literally the only thing we can do, so let's get that going. Dockyards. Do we have a navy? We have 7 ships. Bring them all up to this port. I don't know why they're all the way down south. Bring them up north. We're going to go for 2 convoys and I guess we'll go 2 light ships. We don't have submarines this time around, and we're probably not going to end up researching them. Okay, the Great Qing. The internationally mediated end of the last Zili-Fenian War in 1928 brought an end to nearly 4 years of chaos and instability and began the longest period of peace enjoyed by some parts of China since the Zihai Revolution of 1911. Though Puupi and his northern Zili clique accepted the return of the Qing dynasty, further German concessions were refused, leading to a cooling of relations. Germany continues to maintain support from the Qing government, but mainly with the aim of ensuing consistent competition with the also supported Southern Zili as part of a large divide and conquer strategy in China as a whole, as well as the hopes to gradually build a Chinese bulwark against Japan. Though the specter of Japanese domination looms across much of north and eastern China, the country is nonetheless far more divided than most of Beijing would prefer. The Qing finds its authority contested on all sides, the defiant Fantine government in the northeast, the various ostensible allies across the remaining of China. Nominal components of the empire, granted near total autonomy by grace of geography and regional sentiment. As a result, Qing enters 1936 largely contained the North China Plain and ahead of a faltering national order. I'm sure nothing bad will happen to the Qing Empire between now and let's say like March 15th, 1936. At least I'm pretty sure that's the when it happens. They've got observer rights in the Legation Council. The 1936 finds the powerless assembly on the brink. 5 groups dominate the body, and although they have no power in the chamber, the groups that support them are not to be trifled with. The most powerful of these is the Harmony Assassination, nominally led by President Qiao Kun. A depressed alcoholic, true power in the group relies in Wu Puupi, who founded the association as a legitimate movement to ensure Zili representation in the assembly. While nominally an independent political party, the Harmony Association deputies are all former Zili officers. Following Qiao Kun's legally dubious re-election, few believe the group is anything more than a front for Wu to control the country. Prosperity League occupies a similar position, and while it claims to be a political party, few see it as more than a lobbying group for German interests in Beijing. This leaves 3 parties in the opposition. The Zhaoxi Party, comprised of Qing princes and former royal hanger-ons. The Young China Party, a clique of young officers at the Baoding economy, styling themselves after the Young Turk Party. And the New Chinese Emperor Reformation Association, a fusion of 2 reform groups that, while loyal to the emperor, favor structural reorganization of China back to the traditional model of the rural village, and the end of the warlord cliques. While these three groups are in opposition to Wu, he allows them seats in the Palace Assembly as a way to legitimize his unpopular regime. So I think Wu Pufu is like I think, is he Prime Minister? I don't know what his actual role is, his actual title in China is right now. The restructuring of our debt. For the last few years, Wu and Cao have spent most of our political capital attempting to restructure and reduce the enormous debt of the Qing Empire. While theoretically possible, this plan has run into numerous challenges, the chief being the lack of support from provisional governors. Rumors of instability in the south have further complicated these plans, and Chao Kun is expected to deliver a speech on reducing the national debt to the assembly after the New Year celebration later this month. Okay, so commandeers. Do we need to do any of these? How many trains do we have? 13? Well, I mean, it's kind of interesting for us, right? Because we look at our supplies. You know what? Actually, the railroad situation is not that bad. Did they change the railroads in China? I feel like last time we played in China when we did the federalist government, it wasn't this complete. Okay, so the new year, the rat. In a long, somewhat rambling speech to mark the Chinese New Year, Assembly President Chao Kun addressed the need to restore the glory of the Qing Empire, unite the country, and repay the debt burdening the economy. He laid out a 3-point plan. Government subsidies and tax cuts would be given to light manufacturing industries, farmers would be granted tax cuts to grow edible plants instead of cash crops, and increased tax on provincial governors. 30 political power, thank you. I'm sure, again, we're not going to be losing a lot of this very soon. In the past few weeks, there have been a great deal of economic activity in the League of 8 provinces. Southern conglomerate of provinces ruled by our nominal subordinate, Sun Xiaofang. Even though heavily influenced by German economic support than we are, the League has just finished construction of a major railroad, the Zhang'an Line. Though funded by the Germans, it was largely built by Chinese labor, leading many to hope for a more equitable relationship between the German and Chinese in the League, at least in economic affairs. A few days ago, a surprising move, the AOG publicly announced its plan to purchase and consolidate a number of the Eastern Railway on behalf of their subsidiary group, the Xiaocheng Akban Gaussekraft, including this new Zhang route. This move angered many native Chinese residents of the League who saw the Zhang line as a potential building block in an equal relationship between the Europeans and Asians. Widespread protests have broken out, inflamed by conspiracies of fraud and embezzlement on the part of Sun's cronies. So what do you want to get after you? Encourage farming. Yeah, I guess we'll encourage farming. We get 1 infrastructure. And we also get a building slot, which, sure. German mining companies increased their operation in eastern Shaanxi. The Shaanxi region has always been a good source of coal and useful metals for the Empire. Following the Fourth Zili-Fentian War, we've gained direct control over eastern Shaanxi, a slim area of land that used to belong to Yang Xishan's Shaanxi clique. Our ownership of eastern Shaanxi has been the cause of tension between us and the Shaanxi clique, but for now, they are unable to compete with our military strength. Much like the rest of Shaanxi, this area is rich in coal and iron. Multiple German companies took an interest in the eastern Shaanxi, and so purchased the coal and iron mines there. These mines sit very close to the border with the Shaanxi clique, has not yet been a problem. However, news has just come in that the Eastern Shaanxi Company is going to increase their mining operations, and have presented plans to show some of their mines falling into Shaanxi-controlled territories. We personally do not need to worry about this, but it will likely cause some trouble in the Shaanxi clique. Many peasants feeling robbed by these German companies are taking their mines. So we own Eastern Shaanxi right now. Is there actually any steel? They have 6 steel. That's actually not that impressive. I mean, even then, you guys have 3 tungsten, 3 steel. What are our natural resources? Do we actually have anything good? We have 59 steel. We kind of don't have anything. Our economy is not that great. The widespread attacks on foreigners. Following the unrest surrounding the Zhang Railroad, a number of German investors in Bismarck have been savagely attacked by rabid anti-foreign mobs. To make matters worse, widespread boycotts of German goods began in the south. This morning, reports reached Beijing of bombings of railway stations in Hangzhou and other cities of the Central China Railway. Transportation of goods have ground to a halt in many regions of the League, and the KMT guerrillas are using this opportunity to stage increasingly daring attacks on isolated League garrisons. The German ambassador is demanding accountability, and while the League is largely autonomous from our control, we still need to do something. Zhang Baili and other Zili officials have long pushed for greater control over the League, and are urging Wu to use this crisis to leverage greater control over the South. Wu is personally uncertain of this, but is certainly drafting a telegram to demand accountability from Sun and offer our help should he need it. Unsaid, of course, is a man to increase control over the League affairs should he accept our help. So we're still in January right now, but there's a lot of good flavor. Again, like, one of my favorite things about Kaiserreich is all of, like, the flavor text. I kind of find that to be the most interesting stuff. Okay, so we encourage farming, exports, give me new taxes. So what do we... Market liberal goes down by 8%. Encourage anti-German boycott. 60 days. So are you... I guess it increases it by 8%. I actually don't know what we want to do with German support. I mean, updates in 24 hours, political power gain. I mean, they're giving us a higher cap. So, you know what? Let's just leave German investments where they're at right now. The Wuhu incident. Troubling information has reached Luoyang and Beijing this morning. Reports are somewhat contradictory. It appears that there have been some sort of massacre of peaceful protesters by League and German troops in the city of Wuhu. Some claim German troops simply mowed down protesters, while others claim that a group of KMT radicals attacked the Germans and League troops first. Whatever the cause, the city has fallen into anarchy and protests have sprung up all over the League. Ironically, at the same time we received this information, we received a report from Sun claiming that the situation is under control. Some Z-League generals are pushing for major intervention in the south should the situation deteriorate further, but Wu has yet to take a clear position on the issue. Further expatiating our problems, an informant we have placed within the NCERA claims that they have somehow received information on the situation and are planning to give a scathing speech later in the assembly today. HA officials are attempting to rouse Cao Kun from a drunken stupor and write a counter speech, but we've been caught off guard. Anhu breaks free. Okay, we need to actually fix these borders. You know what? Actually, for right now, Blue Army, you just stay like behind this river. I don't know where else really to put you. The province of Anhu, long chafing under Sun's rule, essentially declared independence from the League this week. In a widely distributed pamphlet, Governor Chen Taoyun claimed that the Wuhu incident shows that Sun cannot manage his crisis, essentially outrages himself from any responsibility on Anhu. Some Z-League generals unilaterally began to mobilize their troops against KMT incursions, though Wu rightfully suspects their true intention of territorial expansion. Taking to undercut their opportunity to invade, he declared a national state of readiness this morning to all Z-League and Manchu generals, urging them to be ready their troops for any possible armed conflict. Confused Z-League troops have largely fallen in line with Wu, and many premature attacks in the south effectively ended before it began. So you're still technically nominally part of the Qing Empire. And Zheng Xiaojin arrested. Earlier today, Governor Zheng Xiaojin of Shaodong was arrested by magistrates reporting to Qu Yingguang, an outspoken Qing loyalist and Confucian scholar within the province. While normally an arrest of a governor would be cause for concern, Zheng has well-documented ties to the defending regime in Japan, and many in Wu's circle feared that he would use the chaos currently developing in the south to sever ties with their government and declare loyalty to Zheng Xiaolin. These fears have been laid to rest as the newly minted Governor Ku promises that he will uphold their government in their province. Again, I'm sure that'll happen and nothing will go wrong. Okay. So the first thing we need to do, I'm going to pull up my I want to pull up my list here. So here's the list of what we have to do in order for the Manchu coup, at least according to this Reddit comment, which I'm trusting. Okay, so we got to refuse Chen gold, and then eventually Chen will ask us a second time for more gold. We got to refuse him again. Eventually we'll get a decision that says he cannot handle this on his own. Take dealing with unrest, pick any of the coup backers available, and don't expose the coup at any point. Okay, so first things first, we gotta deny you your gold. Yes, I guess we'll read this one first. There's only one option. Look, there's gonna be a lot of reading probably for the first 2 episodes, so I apologize for that, but I also don't apologize because it's fun. So earlier this morning, Wang Xiaobin, a senior member of the Z-League clique and major ally of Cao Kun, passed away due to old age. While his death in and of itself is a blow to our command structure, it reveals a worrying trend. Many senior Z-League military officials are of old age, poor health, or both, and a corruption epidemic in our military prevents younger officers from advancing through the ranks. Unless a serious effort is made, our high command will soon consist solely of the doddering, senile old men, terrified of adapting new technologies or doctrine. Okay, so organization minus 10%, very cool. And we also need to get a new leader here. Do we have anybody better than you? We'll go with you. Do we care about the refugees? She can have his own, refuse gold, take dealing with unrest, pick any coup backers. I don't know if this matters so much. I'm going to do this quick save just in case. But I don't think the refugee event will affect our Manchu coup. With widespread unrest sweeping the League of Eight provinces, governors Qi Yun of Henan and Zhao Yaonan of Hubei have reported increased number of refugees flooding into their provinces. Although it started to trickle, over the course of the last few days, the flow has dramatically increased, with whole families fleeing the explosion of violence and banditry. The governors then wording telegrams after some of their men interviewed some of the refugees, indicating central authority within the League has collapsed, far more than previously thought. Furthermore, they request additional food and supplies to deal with the refugees. Okay, we'll send you the supplies. To the eminent President Cao Kun and Imperial Minister Wu Paifu. I, Governor Chen Taoyun, humbly ask for funding for my troops. As outlined in the Constitution of our great nation, it is the responsibility of the national government to provide funds to provisional governors to suppress unrest. While the situation of the League Marshal's son of Nanjing is unclear, I have taken responsibility to protect the province of Anhai against bandits and leftist agitators. This telegram was delivered to Wu Pufu this morning from Anhai Governor Chen Taoyun with the Anchong clique. While the total letter was very bold, it appears Chen had restored order in his province. Wu was faced with a choice. Chen could be a powerful ally, but he has a firm anti-concession stance. Supporting him in the long term would alienate Germany, whose support will be essential in the inevitable war against Japan. At the same time, taking a stance against Germany would undoubtedly endear Wu with the population. We will... Choosing to support 10 will lead Qing into a firmly anti-concessionist path, meaning he cannot support the League of Eight provinces. It will take Anqing's side in the conflict. It also guarantee alienating Germany. If Anqing loses the conflict, Qing will be very alone. Okay, we're going to refuse no funds for rebels. Okay, Black Monday has struck. What do we not have a template for? Total artillery support equipment. I'm going to take one off artillery for now, because again, we don't really need it yet. We also have no aircraft. I probably want to research aircraft. I always find it interesting that transport plane is usually the only aircraft you ever have unlocked by the start. I'm not even too sure, like, why that's the case. Okay, there's now a civil war in Russia. Typically, that just means that the socialists will end up winning no matter what. Okay, then we want to get an emergency meeting. And eventually, we do want to take dealing with the unrest. This is what we need to take for the Manchu restoration. I mean, it's right there. Yeah, we want to do the Manchu restoration. Bloodbath on the Yangtze. Despite their best efforts to deal with the influx of refugees, the governors of our southern provinces are overwhelmed. Following a province-wide declaration of martial law made in Hebei, Governor Zhao Zhanyun ordered his troops to shut down all bridges and road leading into the province from the League territory, and denying entry to all refugees. A large number of them, however, have begun to mass on the bridge over the Yangtze River, demanding entry. While this started peacefully, it quickly escalated into a full-scale riot, as refugees began to pelt Zhao's troops with rocks, bottles, and other debris. Eventually, a group of men who had somehow armed themselves with stolen weapons began shooting at Zhao's troops, who responded by opening fire with machine guns. Those not hit by the storm of bullets fled, stampeding other refugees and leaving their friends and family dead or dying on the bridge. This grisly scene is being repeated up and down our border with the League, as mobs of refugees have started to force their way into our territory. Yeah, I mean, it's just a little massacre. Okay. Telegram from Nanjing. Minister Wu Paifu has woken from restless sleep. Sun Chumming shot 8:55 a.m. Stop. Perpetrator unknown. In coma. Unlikely to wake. Riots widespread. Fleeing with gold and documents. 2 hours later, Lao Yong has become a frenzied hub of activity. Documents concerning Sun's more scandalous dealings with Beijing burn in the furnaces, while a group of senior Zili officials confer with one another. In an unprecedented move, Wu has invited several Manchu nobles, notably the emperor's brother Puupi, to be present in the drafting of some form of unified statement in response to the assassination. So you've been shot, I think? Or have you been shot? No, I thought you got shot. I'm not too sure. But I think that this is, with the chaos in China, I think it's a really good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Anthem. If you enjoyed, run a thumbs up. Not enjoyed, throw some down. If you want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.